Simmons anecdote that Dave talk has awakened in my memory. First of all, I'd like to disabuse him of the illusion that he was hired at Simmons without an interview. The only problem is that the interview wasn't between Wiley and Dave, the interview was between Wiley and me. Wiley collared me in the hallway one day. He said, "What do you think about hiring this guy Dave Gullette?" I said, "Wiley, I don't know, I've never met him." "Doesn't matter," he said, "neither have I." "But Dick Stern recommends him." "Oh," I said, and I was so overwhelmed by the impeccable logic of that statement that I didn't protest, particularly because I was hired by Wiley when Dick Stern's wife, Ruth, called Wiley's wife, Lucy, and said, "Tell Wiley he has to hire Larry Langer." And he did. One last two tenure anecdotes. You think your tenure story was funny. One day I stopped Wiley in the hall. I said, "Wiley, when do I come up for tenure?" "Come up for tenure?" He said, "You were awarded tenure last year." As I said, "Yes, didn't the president notify you?" "No," I said. The next morning I find in my mailbox a white envelope with a rectangular piece of yellow paper. The upper left hand, it says, "Office of the President." Typed on it is, "You were awarded tenure last year, signed William Park, President." I framed it and I cherished it. Now I have an opportunity to unburden myself of something I've been carrying for nearly 40 years, the story of Doug Perry's tenure. I've been too embarrassed to tell him this story, but this is the time to disclose it. I was in the men's room on the second floor, next to the elevator by the English office, when in walks Wiley Cipher and occupies the adjacent urinal. Looks at me over the barrier between and says, "What do you think?" This is true. "What do you think about granting Doug Perry tenure?" And before I could say, "What are you, nuts?" he grunts, "Good, I thought you'd agree," and stomps out. That is how you... This is a true story. This is how we used to operate.
Thanks, Larry. You made my day.
Now, let me ask you this. Am I correct that you once did a public meeting at Simmons for Child's Christmas in Wales?
Many times.
Oh, okay.
Back in the days when the Simmons Chorale, then under Bob Gronquist, the great Bob Gronquist.
Yeah.
Before the fire department got on them, they used to come in holding candles in the dark of Alumni Hall, singing as they came in. It was extreme. It was like the high point of the year for me at Simmons. I saw the students who had papers laid and were always making it. Suddenly they were transformed. They were angels. They were all holding their candles and they were singing as they came in. And there was a Simmons Chorale, had their concert. In the middle of that, I would read Child's Christmas in Wales.
Vivid memories of you at Simmons. And I've always thought what a privilege it must have been to students taking your Shakespeare course to have in the course not only a teacher of Shakespeare, but an actor of Shakespeare. Because although Wiley was a great teacher of Shakespeare, I don't think he was a great actor of Shakespeare. And it seems to me that's very important. So I want to just acknowledge
Thank you, Larry.